All right, can you hear voice stuff? Hopefully. Let me know, Jake. Here's guitar. Can you actually hear stuff all right, Jake? What do you want to talk about, Jake? So, today's live stream is sponsored by McDonald's. Caramel Frap, yeah. Is the E silent on a frappe or is it frappe? Does anyone know? I think actually car is probably the best way to listen to most music. If you're being a Lucy lurker and you haven't liked the video yet, I'd appreciate if you would. It would help other people to find the stream, and hopefully some of those will talk and stuff. So feel free to talk if you're here and just hanging out. That's kind of the idea of this. Otherwise it's just me miserable in my bedroom, which is... The frappe is good. Pretty good. So, anyway, whilst I've got you here, I'm going to be doing the tune. Doesn't go like that, does it? But I'll Be Seeing You, which is a jazz tune. I'll do that at some point, but also I want to talk about anything else that you fancy talking about or whatever. So we talk about gear guitars, we talk about Jake's life decisions, we talk about Jake's second cousin. But yeah, while I wait for you to drop in comments and stuff, I'll try and play this tune, I guess. Seems to make as much sense as anything else. Hey Simon. Hey. my one reharm. There you go. That one's free. Nah, he won't be driving. Jake's waiting for his cousin. I did. Oh, cheers, Ivan. Hey, Perry. Sorry, guys. That's the loop. Let me just pause that. So that was a version or an attempt at the tune I'll Be Seeing You, which is like a ballad. It's Jonathan, right? Jackalee. Yeah, I really like this telly for kind of a lot of things. Kind of lucky that it came back into my possession. If you haven't liked the video yet, you could consider doing that. That would help other people find us. Thank you so much, Ivan, for the... I don't know what currency that might be. But wherever you are, I hope it's nicer weather than it is here. Sorry, Wayne, I didn't get to that question. You emailed me that. I've seen your email. I was going to respond. It's got flat lines on it, but I don't know what they are. probably 11s, I'd guess. I find a Tele a little bit more suited to jazz than a Strat for some reason. But the key TCM, sorry for saying the name earlier, for me is the tone knob does make a big difference. You know, if you've got that all the way up, things are just a bit too bright. And I find that a little bit difficult to play, but if you take it down, I also wonder if the idea of, you know, being able to play jazz, I feel like it's like a thing that you just have to start trying to do, and then eventually one day maybe someone will say what you do sounds like jazz, or maybe they won't. Like, I personally don't feel I'm a particularly jazzy player, but I'm trying, if you get what I mean. So I do kind of bend occasionally, but you're right. Sometimes, because I'm switching between a lot of guitars and stuff, I find it, and scale lengths, I find it a bit unpredictable to know what will come out when I bend. So if I spend more time on one guitar, I can do a bit more. So yeah, on this guitar I'm feeling like I can bend it fairly accurately, but on other guitars that doesn't always. What sort of video do you want, Sahara? So Thomas asks, I took my Podgo to my band practice. Good for you. That's nice to be able to go out and play. Plugged into PA, sounded great, but had a hard time increasing a level for leads. I don't think I do, Wayne. That'll be something I'll sort out. Remind me of it, and I will sort it. Maybe you want to email me that immediately. So increasing the level for leads. So are you using like snapshots? Just tell me a little bit more about how you're using it, and I can try and give you some advice. The thing for me with the kind of jazz tone thing is playing lighter is the thing that works for me better than trying to play heavy, if that makes sense. So I could try and pick things like that or whatever, but it just doesn't really suit me very well. So Thomas, what I would do is I would use the snapshot. So for me personally, when I'm gigging with any modeler, I have kind of three key sounds. I have a clean tone, a rhythm tone, and then in the middle, I would have a lead tone. And my lead tone will generally be slightly different from the others in that it will have more mids, so that it kind of cuts through a bit more, and I'll have a delay on it probably because it's me. And then you can use the channel volume on each of the amp models. That is where you can boost things without changing tone, essentially. So yeah, that'd be how I would do things. So if you're wanting that, I would maybe set up an additional snapshot where all that happens is you have the channel volume increasing. If you want to send me your preset, I can do that for you if you want, or whatever, but that would be my personal approach. Who's Tim? Is this just in general, Tim? Or what you could do, Thomas, is you've got the EQ that you might not be using. You could use that for just a clean level boost or whatever. So you could put that on a stomp and press that when you want that. If that makes sense, you could put that anywhere in the chain. You could put it at the last part of the chain, and you could just have a level increase with that, or maybe a slight mid boost as well. That could work. And then that you wouldn't have to change the way you're doing things, if that makes sense. So you could just move that EQ to anywhere in the chain, maybe give it a slight push on the mids, and also give it a level boost. That could do the job. Valhalla plugin, yeah, that does work really well. I always tend to go post anyway, so like you, I feel like reverb, particularly in front of an amp, if you start to use drive on the amp, doesn't really work for me. And likewise, delay on an amp with the kind of gain that I would use for like a lead tone doesn't really work for me either. So I'm very much like you, I would go post as well. That's my approach. It does seem to be like a bit of a split of opinion with this stuff, but if people come from the world of like channel switching amps, I think most of those would be comfortable and in the mode of using delays and reverbs post. And if people are using clean amps and going in as like a pedal platform, I think those people would be more used to the idea of putting delays and reverbs before the amp. But probably what most of them would never do would be to put the delay or the reverb before their drive pedal, which is effectively what you'd be doing if you have gain on your amp. Hey Keith, how you doing? I need to watch your video, I need to catch up on that. if you take your EP boost, if you put that in the front of your Pod Go, you're probably not going to get much of a level boost from that. I would guess, unless you put it in an effects loop. So what I would suggest is maybe consider, if you put that in the effects loop and put that kind of post some of the stuff 90 minutes into the launch, yeah, I'll be on it. So yeah, just boosting stuff at the very front of the Pod Go will probably just end up giving you a bit more gain and not necessarily the volume that you need to cut above a band, if that makes any sense. So maybe if you put it post the amp and pre-cab, you'd get that kind of volume boost. Yeah, I would run my delays post the amp as well, generally. Does anyone want to hear me try and play jazz again? So the tune that I've been working on, Keith, if you're interested, was not that. I'll be seeing you. So I'll just give that another try. But feel free to ask any questions you've got. The more people that ask questions, the more interesting this is for me, and I think up for other people as well. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I guess this is the kind of thing you can expect from most of my channel. It's just me playing a guitar, talking about some gear sometimes. Hey Jim, hope you're doing well. I'll be seeing you, let's just see, in ballad form. I have owned a 7-string. This one, Wayne. Hey, Forrest. Jazz tone. give myself long enough to actually end it on the backing track. The HX effects, I only have a few presets for that. Tips for using it, I would say, I don't know. Yeah, not sure. I've not really figured out how to get the best out of the snapshots with that. But plugging the HX effects in via USB and editing in that way might be a really good idea. Oh, sorry, yeah, you asked me that question on something else, Patreon maybe. I would say Bandcamp is the way to go if you are like me, in that you're not going to reach loads and loads of people. And there are some people that are willing to pay a bit of money for it. At the level that I'm going to assume that you or I are at, when we release something on Spotify, it doesn't really do an awful lot for you, and you're not going to get any money from it. And I don't know that people really discover artists like you or I through Spotify. I think it generally favors big artists or people with like the backing of a corporation. Is generally the way it is. So although it's a nice thing to say, oh, I've got my music on Spotify, I don't personally think it matters at all. And if someone buys one of my things from Bandcamp for a 4 or 5 quid, that's more than I've ever got from Spotify. So some money is better than none, in my opinion. Yeah. That would be my take on it. So if you've got, even if it's 10 people that are willing to spend some money on Bandcamp, that's orders of magnitude better than 10 people listening via Spotify. Yeah, exactly. So if there are active listeners out there like TCM that are out there looking for new music on Spotify, but there's not loads of people. So I did do an ad for DistroKid, and I've been using that. I did use that for a year to get the music out to the places which, you or I might think they need to be, but it was a waste of time. And that's why I don't really push that DistroKid or whatever. So yeah, personally, I think even if you've got sort of 5-10 people that will spend some money on Bandcamp, it makes more sense to me. The one thing about Spotify, TCM says, is their recommended system goes way beyond just person like A, other people like A also like B, person will like B. The thing is, I think with Spotify, if you can get yourself onto a playlist, you can do quite well on it. But the thing is, it's just basically like any other platform where the thing where people have a massive amount of money to push on that platform are going to do better, I imagine, or people with a massive PR budget, which is not you, I presume, and it's not me. So, I think the people that are actually supporting smaller artists are used to the idea of Bandcamp, and I think kind of get it. Whereas, if someone listens to your music on Spotify, are they ever really likely to, spend money with you or whatever? They might come see a gig or whatever if you're gigging as well. I didn't mean to say gig. Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of my opinion since you asked for it. Yeah. You'll get a small amount of money from Bandcamp more likely than no money. The actual revenue for something like 1,000 plays on Spotify is like nothing. Well, so TCM, the small artists going after playlists, so that's kind of the point though, is that if you can get onto a playlist, that's where other people will discover you, if that makes sense. So if you can, $1 million YouTuber, Yeah, so that's my take on it anyway. So yeah, Spotify, if you're a smaller artist like you or I or whatever, chances are the amount of plays that you're going to get are not really going to make it worth your while to be on there. Like Jake's experience is that, my experience is that. But there will be some people that probably do quite well out of it. But I guess even like Taylor Swift or these people that get millions and billions of um, plays, even they complain about the money that they get from it. So probably it's probably not worth it. um, yeah, and like TCM says, if there is an artist that you do like, um, by all means go and grab it. What about Tidal? Yeah, maybe, but I guess it's going to probably be very similar to Spotify in that the way that Spotify or Tidal or whatever kind of works is that it's like the radio model, basically, isn't it? So if I got played on Radio 1, like I did back in the day, you get like £40 per play, which sounds like a lot more compared to a Spotify play. But when you bear in mind that maybe like millions of people would be listening on Radio 1, that's kind of how I quantify like the Spotify money compared to like radio play. It's like within that realm. Um, yeah, Lady Gaga got 1 billion plays and got a check for £100. Somehow the maths don't work out there. Caesar, the Sir guitars. I've not played the Classic S, but I think they're pretty decent. Yeah, but you know, in that range of stuff, you could maybe get a second-hand custom shop Strat, or you could get a new K line or whatever. Personally, I think I would go for a K line. I don't know if TCM would also, but that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, that's does that answer those questions? Um, yeah, I think things like Patreon have been really helpful for me as well as a smaller person or whatever. You know, um, yeah, for me that kind of um, has worked out nicely. Like there's YouTube ad revenue is way better than Spotify and stuff as well in terms of how much money you get paid per play. Um, so yeah, YouTube might be worth being on. Um, yeah, exactly. It's not a Spotify issue; it's a streaming issue in general. So you know, if you got played on anything, um, but as I say, you know, you get played to 1 million people on Radio One, you get maybe 40 quid. The story of my Strat. Let me grab it a sec. I was thinking, Keith, do you know much about the Fender Custom Shop? It's also not just the label's fault, though, as I know. Yeah, that's a good way to break that down. Sasha says, my Keith's next vid will be the story of my custom shop Strat. Um, so yeah, getting your money synced to stuff is a good idea. Um, for that, you probably need the help of a publisher. Um, but yeah, it's a whole. But yeah, I would say, um, yeah, that the telly is a Fender vintage hot rod 60s. Right. Well, then we need to email back and forth then, if that's okay with you, TCM, because I wanted to do like a video talking about the perceived value of them. This has got Josephina 63 pickups in it, I think. of this guitar, Keith, if you're interested, yeah, the Eric Johnson Strat's cool. Yeah, exotic or great guitar. So the story of this guitar was on a forum. I saw this come up for £1,930, which is relatively cheap, I guess, for a second-hand custom shop Strat. But most of you will know that I'm a K-line fan, so I wanted to get it to see what some of the fuss was about. I'm using the Helix Sasha. Oh, someone asked also about what my favourite, yeah, this is my favourite jazz preset, and it's made up of an 8030 Fawn Norm and the Princeton. So it's a dual amp preset. Anyway, so yeah, the story of this was that I drove a long way along the country to get it, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, Sam's got a bright kind of sparkly CS Strat with a 80s headstock, no 70s headstock, but it does look cool, like smashed glitter kind of style. It looks awesome. So yeah, anyway, I'm quite pleasantly surprised by it. I think it's led me to conclude that if you're going to get a custom shop Strat, getting a used one probably makes sense from a financial point of view. But I want to talk to someone about what actually happens in the custom shop and the amount of output they... Hey Caesar, so I've done one video for Yamaha with the PowerCab 2x12 Plus. I filmed for them in London. So yes, I've got one tiny limited experience with it. It seemed good. I've got the PowerCab 1x12 Plus. That's what I actually have here. So anyway, yeah, that's the story of this Strat. Pretty cool. Yeah, so this was kind of my thinking, TCM. So what I was wondering is, like, in terms of comparing this to something like a K-line, this is closer to like a Sir in terms of production numbers or size of the, whatchamacallit, you know, like the output of the Fender custom shop is far and away more than you'd get from like a boutique builder, I think. If that makes sense. That's the instinct that I have anyway. I think 50 people-ish work in the custom shop. I spoke to Seth Backus, and he can build between sort of like 24 and 30 guitars per year. So if you imagine, you know, the Fender custom shop is churning out literally thousands per year. So in terms of how special they are, you know, if you saw the amount, you know, I don't know. Yeah, a lot of it seems to be sort of like you're paying a little bit for a story, but if you end up with a great guitar at the end of it, and then the other thought was that if you're maybe looking for an instrument roughly like a Fender custom shop, for me, I feel like a second-hand Avery is also good value, and essentially chances are you'd get a fairly similar instrument. Jim Sieben is correct. A Squier Classic Vibe would be a really good choice. Yeah, the Yamaha Pacifica PAC 612. I've not tried the Flame Melt. Well, I might have actually. Maybe I've played Ross's one briefly, but what am I trying to say? I did, yeah, a little video with one. Yeah, what I mean is though, like if you shop through a few Averys, probably they're quite similar in construction and stuff, if that makes sense. Like for instance, this is an Avery guitar, and this is better than a few Fender custom shop tellies that I played. I say a few, I played what, 2? I kind of prefer that guitar. The American original, is that what's replaced it? So yeah, your mileage may I don't know if the frets, you'd hope there'd be a big difference. I don't know if there definitely is. You potentially might end up with some different choices of neck profile and stuff from the custom shop. The Mayer PRS is, I guess, really quite good value. I don't know again about the kind of production numbers for that stuff either, but I've got to say they probably are around in the custom shop numbers. Do you ever feel that you need to sell gear to fund new gear? Yeah, all the time. So that's one of the ways that I do the stuff on the channel. So if there's things that I'm not using, like the GT1000 Core or whatever, I'm happy to sell it. Oh yeah, so American Vintage reissue is what I mean, Thomas. So yeah, if I'm not using gear, I'll sell it, unless I have some sort of attachment to it, like it's a pedal. I'm using studio monitors here. What are the pickups in it now? Yeah, I don't know, the PRS, it doesn't look close enough to a Strat necessarily for some people to fulfill that role of a Strat, I guess, but I'm sure they're very fine instruments. Eric, you've got a massive fan of the PRS DGT chatting just above you. Thomas, I'm using like a pretty much a straight clean sound, I guess that would be why. There's not a terrible amount of compression or anything on this. Maybe if I got closer to the screen. Can't really hear it. guitar out then. If you feel bad for watching YouTube, just play along. Just in C minor. Your average strat should probably be roughly similar to these. So I would suggest maybe you're sitting quite close to your speaker or something. If I get really close to the monitor, it's a bit noisier. But because I'm using mostly a clean tone here, you're not getting much. Cheers, Jeremiah. I remember sending you that email this morning. If you're watching and you've got a question or anything, or you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please feel free to do so, and I'll be happy to answer. That's a really good point, Jonathan. Maybe that's why. So I've had a PRS, the S2. I had a couple of those. So I never really figured out what I didn't get on with it. But yeah, you've just pointed out that the pickup selector is not in the ideal spot. Chili. Coming up quite well, but it's like a really washed out red. Do you still have yours? Your Silver Sky TCM? Silver Skies over here, I think, cost around 16 to £1,900, and for that money you can basically get a custom shop Strat. Do I think in scales or modes or what? So if I'm playing over this, moment I'm kind of just thinking C minor, but I could also be thinking about options like Dorian, in which case I sort of sometimes either think C Dorian, or I think also sometimes about playing in B flat. Sometimes I might think melodic minor. Yeah, about 2,300 new, which is still cheaper than I think a custom shop Strat these days. New is about 2.8, 3.5, right? Something like that. So if the Silver Sky is a decent guitar, which people tell me it is, then that does represent pretty good value, I'd suggest. Again, I don't know about how many they make versus other guitars. So also I'm sometimes thinking about just melody. rest of your day, and thanks so much for the coffee. So yeah, that kind of thing is probably what I'm thinking about, or the sort of things that I've practiced doing would be like repeating phrases. I've talked about this a little bit, but so if you play a phrase whilst you're practicing, just practice being able to repeat that phrase. So it kind of turns on this kind of active listening thing in your head. So if you take your phrase, do that, and then you just repeat that again. Maybe you do it again. Maybe you figure out a little change to that phrase and you do that again. Keep building in that way. And then maybe you take a phrase and you figure out how you would play that an octave lower. And all those little ideas, and then maybe you... Hold on, let me just... So yeah, maybe you take a phrase and you just repeat yourself. Maybe you take a phrase and you try and modify it. That kind of thing. Does that make sense? Those are the things that I think can make a difference to your lead playing and improvisation, and also, you know, trying to play lines that you can sing can kind of help, and then playing melodies that you already know. Can we hear that Strat through the Caddy Tweed? Not easily right now, but I can do that at some stage for you if you want. Cheers, Simon. Hopefully there's some other stuff on the channel that you might dig, Simon, if you're not subscribed yet. So yeah, one of your signature moves is the slide up, down one fret. Where in scales that works? Okay. So if you're in your normal pentatonic, here's the kind of key place that I do it, is on the 10th fret. Oh, just lost camera, hold on. Yeah, if we're on the, let me just check that's still working. Yeah, we're good. So on the 10th fret, if we're in C, so we're playing an F here on the 8th fret G string. That's one place that I do it. So if we're in C minor, I'd be doing it on the 10th fret. But it doesn't just have to be that one. You can actually slide it way further. Another place that it works quite well is if you're doing like a Dorian thing. So that would be on the 8th fret on the B string. So if we're in C, that would be A. And then if you are on like any of the other notes where you don't have a half step up, it probably works better to do it as a whole slide. There's another one where it works quite nicely. So again, if we're in this C minor box shape, essentially it works well on the A string on the 10th fret, it works well on the G string on the 10th fret, and it works well on the B string on the 10th fret, and it also will work nicely on the E string. Or any of those 10th frets. In fact, you can probably do it on any note that you want. So yeah, there's not really any strict rules to it, but actually yeah, it works on any note of the pentatonic. So yeah, that would be my approach on that. In terms of a name for that thing, you could call it an upper mordant. So it's this kind of thing. Hey Tom. So it feels like it's going to be a different thing when you're sliding from a bend, but it's actually the same thing. What you do is you start to release. Yeah, so it feels like from a bend you'll be doing something different. But what you want to do is slightly release the bend before you do. So as you're releasing the bend, you're starting to do the move. If that makes sense. Does that answer that question a bit, Tom? Feel free to ask it in another way if I haven't answered it properly. Yeah, I probably do it on the... I think I overdo it, if anything. So you could also do it on a full step bend. And don't forget, you can also go up like as many or as few notes as you can, so it doesn't have to always be a... You could flick it up further if you wanted to, and that would probably make you more interesting than me or the other people that do this a lot. can't really do it under. Maybe you could. So you want a chorus on this? Let me see what I can. If I get rid of this compressor, maybe. Oh, hold on, I can move this down. Action. Copy block. Paste block. If I move this, clear block, I can now put in a Trinity chorus. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Here we go. Sean Tubbs. Yeah, I've heard of him. Here we go. Hey, Matt. Actually, there's a newish one, isn't there? In the poly detune, is it? I haven't got the juice for it. Anyway, so stereo. If I clear that block as well, then stereo poly detune. That's only mono then. Where are you? Seems to take up a lot of juice. Maybe now. No. We'll have to go with that. It's a dog. That's an unfair question. If you're a beginner, if you don't need an amp, potentially I wouldn't get an amp yet. Some of the plugins and stuff are really useful. The tone is still that dual vox tone, but I've just chucked a Trinity chorus on it. Alternatives to basic simple chords. So here's a nice major chord, if that's what you're into. So that's a D, an E, an F sharp, and a B. No, an F. Wait, a C sharp. Sorry. So a D, an E, an F sharp, and a C sharp. Okay, and then you can move that around to be either the root or the fourth. So you could play that D major, or you could play that G major. Yeah, Jim, that's absolutely not a proof. You pillock. What's wrong with the voice? Can you hear it better now? I think it's just I need to be right in front of it. Is that better, Tiago? Hopefully that's better if it's like here. I did turn off the mic for a bit because the dogs were barking. So if that's okay like that, that's normally my default thing. I've just been switching things around to try out different sounds and stuff. Should I try and play jazz on this guitar then? Hold on. So, good on you, Jim. You're saying the things that need to be said. How's work going, Jim? Jim kind of sides with Eric Clapton politically, that's why he's a fan. Do you have Derek on all the time? Derek? What's the word? Yeah, the blocks that I use generally all the time would be a delay and a reverb block. Because I use snapshots, you'll find um, you'll find that if you use snapshots, you can do quite a lot more with less blocks, if that makes sense. It's the dog barking again. Right, here's I'll be seeing you without dogs barking. So anyway, that's the tune that I've been working on, and yeah, Strat for jazz sometimes I find a bit difficult, but it seems this has a voicing which kind of works for it okay. So, yeah, hopefully that's been vaguely interesting for anyone who's joined in. I do this kind of every Sunday. I'll try and do a few more through the week if people are interested in catching this sort of stuff. If you wanted to like and subscribe, you could. I'm going to try and record a version of this now. Which pickups? These are Josephina 63 pickups, I think. Yeah. How do I feel about playing acoustic guitar? I feel it's a little bit of a different thing. A lot of my focus is on electric, so some of it doesn't really transfer super well over to acoustic, but some of the same stuff kind of applies. I think generally an acoustic really likes to be played quite softly. For me, anyway, that's the kind of tones that I like out of an acoustic guitar. So yeah, I'm going to go and try and record a take of this, the backing track, and I'll put up a chord melody for it on my Patreon for people who want that sort of stuff. Wednesday evening. Yeah, email me and tell me what sort of time that is. Any right hand picking tips? Practice it. Have you ever thought of releasing gig ready patches? That's kind of what most of my things are already. I have like a clean tone, a snapshot, clean snapshot, rhythm, and solo for most of them. So that is kind of already what they should be. The stream is generally around this sort of time on a Sunday. Yes, Matt. Generally. Guitar players playing this kind of style, maybe listen to someone like Jim Hall for kind of simple-ish approaches to jazz. Maybe you could consider listening to Pat Metheny as well, kind of lyrical jazz-ish playing. This kind of stuff. Maybe Keith Jarrett is one of my favourite musicians to listen to. I'm not saying I sound like any of these, but I don't know. If you listen to that sort of stuff, which is what I listen to, you might pick up some things from that. If anyone hasn't liked the video yet, we could maybe get that 49 likes up to 50. That would be cool. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I think that would help. At the moment, I don't really have any particular aim. Cheers, Simon. Yeah, that's the idea with some of this stuff. Hopefully it inspires someone to pick up a guitar at some point and try and play along and stuff. Lando's amazing, yeah. But yeah, tomorrow there'll be a lick-based video of some form, talking about something that I'm practicing or something. You know, but yeah, and there's loads of other stuff on the channel, so hopefully there's kind of something for most people that are interested in guitars. Do I listen to Julian Lage? Yeah, he's got a version of that actually. Tim Lurch is a great guitarist, yeah. Bill Frisell, yeah, again, those are kind of top tier players. I'm not sure that I play anything like any of those, but those are really cool players. Let's talk more about music and less about gear. Anyway, yeah, so I talk about music on Mondays and Fridays. What's the name of this tune? It's I'll Be Seeing You. Yeah, the thing is, if people are interested in me doing certain things on the channel, they could let me know in the comments and stuff. Hey, James. It's alright. It's not going anywhere. You can just catch up with it if you want. You know, the things that people want on the channel and people that respond and watch the things, that will be what you end up getting more of. Although I'm committed to the idea of doing something useful each week, you know. So like a Monday, if it's a lick based thing, Friday it's like a chord based thing, and Sunday I do this jazzy stuff. But you know, the rest of the week it's just about whatever. Cool, it's good. Hopefully, yeah, that's the idea. If it inspires any person to do something, or hopefully it makes the world slightly less bad. I don't want to put out rubbish into the world, but hopefully some of it does something useful. So yeah, I'm going to try and record a version of this tune, and as I say, the chord melody will go up on Patreon, as will the backing track, which I will fix the ending of. But thank you everyone for stopping by, and go and eat a Sunday roast or something. Cheers. What do you mean, is this a capture? I'm playing on a Helix, so it can't be a capture. Helix. More Lionel Richie. Great show.